Welcome back, everyone. It's Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, here with another video. And it's that time of month again. It is time for Island Raid. Now, I know some of us are still reeling after the last event, and believe me, I know some people took it a lot worse than others. Thankfully, you should have most of your troops back by now, because we had a nice 85% death recovery rate. So most of your troops are still going to be viable for Island Raid. And since you were just fighting with your alliance, you can hopefully work on your cohesion as a team. With that being said, video is just going to talk about how some of the matchups are this time around. Starting in G4, where MOB ended up, we have HNZ and ANCB both in our group here. Along with ND21, we're going to have some tough competition in here. However, I do believe this matchup is a lot more fair for us because we did not merge this time around. MOB is all by ourselves. We're trying to differentiate ourselves from being grouped up with anyone else. We have HNZ directly to our north, who has some consolidated power in their upper ranks, especially in this nice 195 person here who lets he does use it. It'll be interesting to see this hit the field. I believe down here in the bottom corner, where did ANCB go? Yeah, we are flanked on both sides by HNZ and ANCB, and they have a couple of higher might players, 119 with an okay amount of kills, 93 million again with an okay amount of kills, directly to our south and directly to our north. However, we also have ND21 over here. And honestly, I'm a little bit more worried about them in combat than I am either of our neighbors. Because as you can see, they have a bit more to offer. 173 and uses it. 153 and uses it. 103 and uses it. We're going to be facing some tough competition. Thankfully, they're on the far side of the map. So if we do end up facing them, it will likely be towards day 2 of combat, less than day 1. I We also have SKNG, who has a little bit of power up here. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete with their northern neighbors, but if they decide to grow towards war, let's see what they're up against. I don't think they're going to have too much of an issue heading to their west. So they have an out if ND21 doesn't go south. And we also have another alliance that doesn't really have anyone above. Yeah, one person above 70 million here, it seems. So I don't know how much they're going to accomplish. And then we have Sim. Sim also around 70 to 80 million. So it'll be interesting to see who the alliances are this time around. I imagine HNZ and ANCB are going to be allied together. And I've heard rumors about ND21 pairing with them. If they do, it'll be a very tough fight for us. But we'll get to see how that works out. Yeah. Heading into another region, let's go check out what some of the other matchups are. G1 this time around, I don't think is going to be much of a fight. We have both HNB and ANCS on the same map. It'll just be, if they decide to fight each other, I think that would be an interesting setup just to duke it out at the end to see who can get the last one. But if they're going to pair up, I don't imagine the rest of them will stand much of a chance. Fox will obviously pair together. 17s will pair together. If they can get to these four, if they can get all six, I'm curious of how well they can hold. But unless it's a 6v2 situation, I don't see it happening any other way. Then we have G2. We have Fine in here. We have BTW in here. AC18. Some very familiar faces in the top again. I am not sure about how the alliances are going to work with G2. I think this one is going to be a toss-up, and who ends up with the stronger alliance will end up on top here. Diplomacy will ultimately decide this one, in my opinion. And then you've got G3 with Boone. And Boone has a central location here on the left side of the map, but I know they got hammered in the last island, and whether you want to chalk that up to their ability to fight or the bug that we experienced with Island Raid, because we all had that issue, Boone didn't do well. So I think that's probably why they were bumped down to G3, but this is just ridiculous. I think all seven of them could probably pair up, and Boone could still end up on top. But Boone will make allies. Boone will end up with friends in this at some way or another, and I don't see them having too much of an issue. One interesting one that I want to point out is down here in G5, and I'll explain that when we get in here. But we had DNB try something interesting. They basically brought a Pompey team into a farming alliance. They picked 20, 30 people that wanted to participate in Island Raid in a farming alliance all together, and this is what they're doing. As you can see, there's only 65 people in this alliance. But doing this managed to put Captain, Shy, Rose, No Face, a couple of their other heavier hitters in one alliance in G5. I don't know if they're going to have the personnel to pull this off. I mean, of course, there's still diplomacy. I don't imagine Lost is going to pair with us after what happened, which great fight in Darkseal, Lost. Just wanted to point that out. But I'm curious to see how DBN does here in G5 with just a Pompey team's worth of of allies here. With that being said, that's the top 5 regions. If you have any questions about how Island Raid is set up, I've already made a video on the Island Raid event details. If you have any questions about any new rules that may have changed, I don't think the rules have changed this time around. I know they said they were working on the matchmaking, but as you can see, there's still some issues with it. Other than that, I don't think there's any other changes to the event itself. With that being said, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you have any other content ideas or want me to cover anything else, please feel free to let me know. I'm still working on trying to get streaming up and running on my computer. I've moved my entire computer setup into a different room so I could hardline it better, and I can run a stream. I did for Pompey this time around. You can see the quality of it in a previous video. I'll set that up here. I'll put the card for it in this video. And if you're okay with that quality, I will try and stream this Island Raid. But otherwise, I'm doing the best I can. And with that, this is Mr. Brain, your friendly neighborhood gaming dad, signing off.